As a younger skater than, I don't know, the industry, honestly, I don't know a lot about the Gonz. A foreword to the listener, please sound off in the comments with your favourite Gonz moments for educational purposes. Really hoping the comment section on this one gets pumping for my own gain as well as other younger generations too. I've heard people try to explain him, and I love that for him skateboarding and art coexist and intermingle, but I can only speak to what I know about him, which, thanks to the Tim O'Connor Show, an outstanding podcast there isn't enough episodes of, is Gonz's rubber body, his lack of fear, and separately this insane frontside invert he insanely did just an insane year ago. And the trick we're going to break down today, which is much older than that. Gonz, of all the professional and semi-professional skaters now in their 50s today, looks to be somehow one of the most youthful and the one who has the most fun. This trick is somehow a historically accurate precursor to what modern skaters know of the Gonz. To my knowledge, nobody ever thought to shoot their board through the gap in the middle of one of these double rails and try to land on it again. It's really a carnival-esque move and is still, frankly, really gnarly to this day. Some people put negative connotations on quote-unquote circus tricks, but I say those people can sick a duck. Skaters like Chris Haslam, Richie Jackson, and Killian Martin are the ones who permeate into the core of the human race and give humanity a positive impression and a warm intrigue towards skateboarding, which creates the most passionate and fascinated lifelong skaters and brings more money into skateboarding, meaning more parks, more events, better health for this species, physical and mental, and a greater sense of unity than anything I know exists on the planet Earth. Also, skating is not the UFC. There's legendary levels of athleticism in it. But never forget, we're playing beautiful games with a piece of wood that has wheels on it. Make of it what you will. Skateboarding brings us together. So I heartily promote that we don't take it so seriously that we discriminate against others for their trick selection. Except for boneless finger flips. You can't do hands-free flip tricks and you know it. Have your fun, but treat it like masturbating. Keep it to yourself. Or do it with your girlfriend. Maybe you can swap hands. Then, once your head is clear, go both learn fakie shovels. Now let's shake down the breakdown or something. Gonz cites his first influences on skateboarding not as skateboarders, but to his cousins doing backsprings and somersaults, which is information that will, big word alert, contextualize the conceptualization of this trick. Gonz is kind of known as the skater who took the elements that made up skateboarding as a talent-based sport and implemented them on the streets in a way that turned skateboarding into something more so like a performance art piece. In art, there's a triangle that represents the framework of how any given piece of art is contextualized. In the center of this triangle is the artwork, and the 3 points surrounding it that color, influence, and affect the experience of consuming this artwork are the artist, the audience, and the world around it. Gonz is a large part of the reason people argue against skateboarding being considered simply a sport for this very reason. In the same vein, Mark showed us that skateboarding was not alone something that can be measured by talent, but by creative choices like a skater's trick selection and their unique approach to a skate spot that may have been skated one way by a million different skaters, or a skate spot that has never been skated or even considered by anyone in the world as skatable. Exhibit A. Kinda haven't talked about the trick yet. Let's get to that. I had homemade eggs and avo on toast for breakfast, and Mark rolls up to the trick square on his board. The carve is notable, full 90-degree turn necessitated by the ute in American pickup truck parked nearby. He only has a few feet to decide whether or not he can clear the rail or not, let alone shoot his board through the middle of the rail. I probably don't need to explain this, but if your legs don't clear the rail in this scenario, you're having sidewalk for lunch and then tube-fed meals for a week. He decides this roll-up is viable and readies his feet with that little bounce into position. He battles between two motions here. He jumps like somebody trying to ollie something really high, but pops a pretty light but quickly leveled out ollie. You can see on the way up, his body is still very tall above his board before he separates from it. This is so he can flatten out the ollie, or actually tweak the nose downward before he reaches the rail, so that he can then suck his feet up, clear the rail while his board goes under, and in this instance, the tail of the board readjusts on the underside of the bar and flattens out perfectly for the now laser-focused Mark to try to regain some degree of control over the board in a promising but ultimately safe and salvageable way. There's just a lot of chances for this one to land primo, poke you in the pen 15, or plainly land just too far in front of you where you go to put your weight on the board, have it shoot out in front of you, into traffic here no less, and you're sideways before you hit the ground. This one is a gamble. Calculated, but dangerous. The ollie technique and timing has to be utterly perfect for this one to work favorably. Try this. Pretend the rail isn't there. Pretend his 2 feet never disconnected from the board, and imagine as if he's doing either a nose bonk on the air or an ollie north, aka ollie 1 foot. You can see his body is clearly traveling on a different trajectory. So it's up to him to level out or tweak that ollie very quickly, immediately even, into a position in the air with the nose pointing more or less flat or down, slightly back toward the ground, so that it's heading toward the desired result before you've yet had to worry about your legs clearing the rail. You have to ollie like you're doing one thing, but jump like you're doing another. This is the bare minimum to accomplish survival on this trick. Landing it is a different story altogether, and Gonz is incredible, if only for this. Gonz was named number 1 on Transworld Skateboarding's list of the 30 most influential skateboarders of all time. So, amongst THPS, aka Tony Hawk, the pro skater, that should tell you something. I think I heard a rumor he fell off after this, and that's why it's cut short. But as an old Australian proverb by a dude who reckons he cut his ears off for a bet goes, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Thank you, Gonz. Though I don't know much about you historically, and I hope the comments section will lend a hand once more, you continue to add something unique and deeply awesome to skateboarding. The heart of skateboarding still beats so strong in this guy, and what I mean is, any other human who resembles the Gonz might be jaded, withered, and cynical. At 51 years of age, skateboarding has this guy plank dancing in the streets and passionately and hungrily living his life. Never forget what a gift we have here. Best toy ever. Peace. I'm Reese.